talking about the here on Stream Punk Sports. We're live. We'll take all your questions in the chat. You can check out our website at streampunkent.com. And I'm here with Sammy D, Brendan K, and joining us for the first time, King Rob. How are y'all doing tonight? Where do we even start from here?
I'm not even sure where to start. I had the pleasure of being there in person, so my emotions are still kind of balancing out a near almost 24 hours later. But I mean, is there a more insane way to open the season, especially on the first Monday night of the season?
It's a very Jet way to open the season.
It's like so much in Jets history, we've seen it before. I remember the Vinny Testaverde play in '99. As soon as I saw it, I just cried, laughed, opened my beer, changed my jersey because the Curtis Martin one I was wearing clearly brought back some of that 99 juju, which was the last time this team was hyped as much as it was, and in a legitimate Super Bowl contender. And then first game, Vinny Testaverde pops his Achilles on the crappy AstroTurf at the old Giant Stadium. And now here we are again with new stadium, same crappy turf that just seemingly leads the league in injuries with both teams. And here we are again. And just this, I'm just dead inside from this team. From all of the hype in the off season, I wanted to be excited. I started to get a little excited watching Hard Knocks, but just there's always that sneaking sense of some kind of impending doom every time. And the line has been suspect for years. We knew this. I've said it to each one of you. I said the perfect Jets start would be the most Jets thing to happen. So I thought was Rodgers would come in on fire. They would get off to a hot start, 3-1, 4-0, and then he would be hurt and done. I thought 4 games, not 4 plays. Brandon, you were in the building, so let's start with you. What was it like in the stadium when that happened?
So I'll give you a bit of a kind of a sequential from beginning to end of this whole thing. Coming in. From straight up from pulling up to the gate to pay for parking, you felt it. There was the height, the tailgating was already in full throttle, right? You parked, you get into the stadium, they give you these wristbands that had a light, kind of plastic light thing that would sync up to the music. Like this was a big deal.
Nice.
Yeah, it was like a rave in there. And it was really incredible. I mean, you saw when he's running out with the flag and everything, like that's what it was for the entire offensive, the starting lineup. And it was really, they had a whole Method Man hype tape before then. Like the energy was out. And I was in the second to last row. And when I tell you it blew all the roof off the place, it was incredible. All right. We have the couple plays. We get the first long run. All right. Rodgers personally isn't doing anything yet, but the Jets came off to a great start. And then he goes down. It doesn't matter how big your TV was. It doesn't matter how loud you were watching it at. It doesn't matter what the commenters said or how they said it. You couldn't feel what it felt like in the stadium. It felt like somebody died, legitimately died, like dropped dead. And we had a very rough, to say the least, first half. Booed going into the locker room. And then this was kind of the one of the cherries on top of this Sunday. They had a tribute band come out at halftime to play. They didn't show this at all. On TV or anything, but they had his tribute band that opened up for Billy Joel. So it had very New York vibes, right? So it was feeding into the whole thing. And I get it. We had the terrible incidents happen, but you got to maintain energy. Mm-hmm. This goddamn band, the first song, I told you guys, the first song they played was Dream On, Aerosmith's Dream On.
Oh my God.
And I literally, I couldn't believe it. And they were playing old highlights, old Curtis Martin runs.
You mean the same old highlights they've been playing for 50 years because the team hasn't done anything.
Right.
Okay, yeah. So some Gastineau sacks. They were showing the good old days while this goddamn band was playing Dream On. And it was just, it felt so weird. It really did. But then they come out in the second half. And things started, and let's get this off the bat. The defense, the whole game was there. The run game was there the whole day, and special teams in all aspects was there. So obviously, the issues became the passing game. Okay, so we're now in the second half. The third quarter is, Zach's making a couple throws. We're starting to move the ball. Putting some points on the board. We have the fourth quarter come along. Now the energy's starting to build up again. And we have the Garrett Wilson. I mean, it's week 1, but it could be end up catch of the year, or at least maybe touchdown of the year with that bobbling, juggling catch. He bobbled it as many times as Kadarius Toney dropped.
Yeah,
so
he bobbled it a good 3-4 times. That was nuts.
Yeah.
No helmet required.
Really
Suck it, Beckham.
Yeah, and it was the cross, the first one too. The go cross, and then the whole thing. It was incredible. So that was really what pun intended, lifted the energy. Lift off with the energy there. And then we tie the game, or we take the lead, or we tie the game, take the lead. The Bills are driving down. We're starting to get a little nervous, but we're energized, but we're nervous. And the Bills are driving the field. They line up for the field goal, and I was right in line with the goalpost.
Oh, wow.
Oh.
And so they kick. I forgot what it was. What was it, 30, 40, whatever it was. Again, very makeable kick. And we thought, all right, he'll make it easily, down the middle like he'd been hitting it all game, and we'll go into overtime. He hit the upright post, or the up left post, and I watched it fall behind that, and before it hit the ground, I was already like hands in my face, like, all right, it's overtime. Obviously anything happens, and that's we'll see what happens. And then we get the toss, the coin toss. Buffalo comes down. We stop them. We get this punt. I had been sitting next to a gentleman who we had exchanged some, comments throughout the game. We weren't really like conversation, but just some comments throughout the game here and there. Xavier Gibson scores this touchdown. The way this fellow and I embraced was like we were best friends, and I just found out he just had a kid or he was having a baby. Like, it was the most insane thing ever. And I blacked out. And it was just the walk out of the stadium was just electric. And yes, it does suck with the Rodgers incident. But now that I've slept on it, we're near almost 24 hours later. I really think if you're going to stay in the positive mindset, I think the only sane way to think of this whole situation is that he was never here at all, because he essentially didn't do anything, right? So Zach basically played every snap of the game, had his issues, the game progressed, made some plays, and obviously overtime happened. Next week on to Dallas is going to be super tough, but I really think you got to just ride the train. I know the gut punch of it, but you gotta have faith. Bon Jovi said it. Keep the faith.
Mm-hmm.
And that was but yeah, overall at the end, an incredible night, but small asterisk on it with whatever. But yeah, it really was insane.
Yeah. Rob?
Yeah, no, I think you kind of nailed it with the only way to comprehend and move on from this is to say that he was never here. He was brought in as a coach during camp, and that was it. Because if you really I don't think everything is really sunken in fully. Like, I feel like I'm still in a bit of disbelief. So rather than try to digest it, I feel like I'm doing the same thing, just trying to move on. But as a long-suffering pain year after year Jet fan. The one thing I will say is when this happened, through the course of a weekend, just a routine Jet game, my phone's blown off the hook, just buzz, people texting, this play, that play, oh my God, this call, that call. Phone didn't buzz, didn't ring, nothing. I think every one of my Jets fans that I talked to, including some in this group, were just kind of silent. And there was nothing to say. And then beyond that, one step further is I don't think there's one Jet fan that you could talk to that is surprised that something like this could happen to us. Not one of them is like, I can't believe the luck. I can't believe this could happen. No. We all believe this could happen. We absolutely believe it.
I was afraid of this the whole offseason.
Of course.
This is why I was I went back and forth with Brandon for a lot of the offseason, where you were pro Aaron Rodgers. I was against Aaron Rodgers at the start of the offseason because I was afraid of this. This was what was exactly what I was afraid of.
Well, in between all this, and I'm gonna bring up King Rob because we had a conversation that, like, when you sent that picture of you and Aaron, it wasn't the shirt like Brandon has, but it had a shirt of Brandon, and I felt something that I'm like, uh-oh.
So it's your fault.
It just creeped up, but after that, I had sent a message to somebody that says, "Is there a worse definition than cursed?" So I Googled it. So I looked for something similar, and what's come up is accused, bedeviled, blasted, blighted, confounded, excommunicate, foredoomed, voodooed, blankety blank.
I got one for you.
There's got to be like some long German word.
Internal.
I got one that's worse than all of those.
Star-crossed, unholy, unsanctified, villainous.
No, we are Belichicked. That's worse than all of those.
Yeah.
Cursed that building the day he walked out.
But
eternally cursed via Post-it.
King Rob and guys, this is the worst part. Because like I said, I was like, last night I watched the game after that happened, and my wife was there with me, and she was more excited when the plays were happening than me because I was still numb from what happened.
Yeah.
I jumped up, we won.
Yeah.
But she screamed more than I did because I was still numb, like Brandon said, like
King
Rob said that. It's like it didn't sink in.
It took me a while to really
But what makes matters worse is the following, and you're going to see it now.
Mm-hmm.
I forgot months ago that I ordered something on Fanatics.
Oh no!
I'm just getting my money
Cancel
at this point.
No. This is, and when I see the text, it's arriving it arrived today.
Oh no!
Open it.
Oh no!
Bobblehead.
Yeah. That's how I knew I'm cursed. We're all cursed. That it arrives the day after.
This is like when you order a snowblower and it's delayed because of a heavy snowstorm. And then it comes days later. That's what this is.
Yeah, and then it shows up in April.
yeah, because it's just so backordered.
Because yeah, but I will say that I was at a open air market on Saturday. I was looking for a new Jets jersey. I found a table. I was browsing through. Said, what do you have in green? Because I personally don't like white jerseys because I'm a klutz. I drop shit and stain too easily. So I said, can you get me Garrett Wilson in green in this size? He didn't have the right size. Of course, he was trying to talk me into a Rodgers jersey. I stood there thinking about it for a second, and these are, let's just say, far below official NFL.com prices. I'll leave it at that. But just even with that, I said just something. I just cannot pull the trigger on buying an Aaron Rodgers jersey. I'll come back in a few weeks and get the Garrett Wilson. Oh, I'm glad. Definitely glad I did that. That's why I switched. That's why I switched back to the Darnold jersey because poor Sam. Redemption, the redemption arc is what we can hope for. Positive thinking, as Brandon said.
You want to hear a Sam Darnold story?
My son.
Happened this week too.
Mhm.
You guys know that I have a whole collection of here, and one of the collections was a Funko Pop of Sam Darnold,
Yes.
which he's no longer a Jet.
Mhm.
So
I think I know where you're going with this.
I hustled it to order another Funko Pop, where I then said, "Oh, I don't want this anymore. I'm going to return it." So I returned the Sam Darnold instead. You know what they said? They said, "We will give you the credit. You could keep it."
Oh, that's not where I thought you were going. I thought you were going to go, I sold it because he wasn't a Jet anymore. I didn't want it because I did that with my Jacob DeGrom pop.
Oh, okay.
And I kind of wish I didn't, just for monetary value, not for Mets nostalgic stakes.
But this is how bad they are. I return. I say no because you sent me a Sam Darnold, and they said, "Oh no, we'll give you the credit. You could keep it."
They don't even want the inventory.
We're not going to sell it anyway. Now, I think, you know what? Thinking about this whole situation though, last night, granted, at the end of that game, because I'm starting to develop a bit of a hatred for the Bills. I don't hate all the players. There's some guys that I'm fine with, but I'm developing a hatred for them. The large volume of alcohol pouring through my system really helped me get fired up. I was thrilled, excited, especially to end that game the way it did with Xavier Gibson, like the story of training camp. I mean, come on. You couldn't ask for anything better. Robert Saleh ripping his headset off, meeting him in the end zone, for God's sakes. I think he was the second person to celebrate with him. I mean, it was amazing.
He was incredible. He was the first non-player to.
Yes, exactly.
Yes, he was.
Yeah. So there was another.
He probably broke a 4.5 40.
Yeah, Lazard.
That's why he runs up the stairs before each game.
Yeah, Lazard was on the field and barely beat Saleh to him. But all of that happening, absolutely thrilled. Opener, Monday Night Football, get the win. I woke up this morning and felt like we lost the game because of just the cloud and shadow of what we lost. Because you know
hangover.
I actually didn't though.
Better shape than I thought.
Again, I'm really forcing myself into the positive thinking train.
I like it.
Hold on to it, but I still felt good. I really did. Because to be truthfully, the real worst of the Jets curse, they lose last night.
Yes.
So let's really give them that brownie point at least, where they still won the goddamn game.
Yeah.
Totally. In an exciting fashion to the circumstances of the day of the year too, and just I mean, it really was insane.
Yeah.
Incredible.
It was a better tribute than the Giants, that's for sure.
Yeah. Did they clearly they did not fumigate the field properly after the
not fully, not to my desire.
No, I think that MetLife Stadium could qualify as a Superfund site after that Giants Dallas game Sunday night, and whatever leftover radiation stink was there from that clearly brought us to where we are. But just I was numb watching the whole game, and I just laughed when it happened. Like, seriously, this can't be happening. Like, just I can't even yell or scream or be mad or anything. Just laugh or cry is the only way to deal with it. And I mean, you guys wonder why I'm so.
That's called the Jets fight or flight.
Yes, I am a very nihilistic Joe Beningo style Jets fan, because to try and protect myself against this year after year.
Oh,
the talk of the league.
What are you talking about?
I get it. In fact, when he got hurt, my wife said to me, because she knows how I am, and there's a period of the offseason where I'm like, we're doing nothing, we can't be good, to mini camp comes along to, you know what, they're saying some good things about this guy and that guy, to training camp comes to like, you know what, I think we could be better than people think, to game day week 1. I'm like, this is our year. Every single season, I take every positive I can out of every player, put it together. No one sees us coming. We're going all the way.
Yeah.
last night after he got hurt and talking to my wife, she said, look, if he's hurt and like out for a long time, I hope you realize that you need to stop and like just nothing good is ever going to come for this team. Like, this is it. We're screwed.
Yeah.
Like, just accept it. And I don't want to hear all your stories about how to be excited this year. She's like, I'm done hearing them. She has
Yeah,
a
I
point.
get that.
And going back to us not being surprised, when he got hurt, walked off the field, when they said the cart's coming, I don't think one Jet fan thought for 1 second, there's like, maybe it's an ankle and I'll be back later or 3 weeks. I think every single Jet fan knew, like, he's done. Obviously.
I was lying to myself. I was just like, it's probably an Achilles, but maybe it's just an ankle.
A lot of
It's
people
probably
around me were a little bit in disagreement over the specifics of it and just confused.
Sure.
Until but then like kind of like 10 minutes later, the reports started to come out and really people started to kind of figure, all right, it's not going to happen.
Before long, I figured if there was any good news to report, we would have heard it already.
Yeah. Oh, the only good news was they broke in and said X-rays negative. At one point, the sideline reporter said that.
Yeah, negative.
Which when they said X-rays
left.
negative and they still had the card out, I said, oh, that means it's something like that they won't see until it's an MRI tomorrow, which means probably Achilles or something torn.
I thought it was the calf again.
Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of people did think that too.
Well, keep in mind that was the same calf that he had issues with,
right?
In many camps. So and it's connected. So and then when they slowly showed the instant replay, then you saw how it gave, and I'm like, oh, okay, this is not good. But this is what bothers me more. So yesterday was grief. You know,
now it's anger.
King Rob was talking about. You know, there's those, what is it, the 5 steps of grief, or is it 6? Well, this is our Jets version. You said before the Jets version of those steps of grief. That you go from sad to happy and back. Today, I'm angry because of the text that I sent you guys. If it's correct from Zach Rosenblatt. I don't know if you know this, Brandon. Zach Rosenblatt from The Athletic indicated with Diana Rossini, and I'm saying it, I'm going to tell you. Aaron Rodgers had expressed to Jets coaches that he doesn't like play calls involving cut blocks because he can't extend the play and it forces him to get rid of the ball quickly. Sources tell me it failed twice on his 4 dropbacks. One resulted in a throwaway, and on the other, he got injured when Dwayne Brown's cut failed to stop him. So you're telling me if this is accurate, he's running the offense. You're not listening to him if he's saying that? I'm angry with that.
This brings me back to my anger of Nathaniel Hackett, which I'd started to warm up to him, you know, but he's a weird dude. But Brenda, go ahead. I didn't mean to stop.
No, I was going to say if you're Nat Hackett and you're supposed to know Aaron Rodgers as well as anybody in the league, you have to know and set that up as part of your offensive plan that the cut blocking is not an option.
Yeah.
So
you know what? That actually leads me to sometimes you got to take this with a grain of salt too, because I think that as close as they are, and Hackett knows what he's dealing with. He knows this isn't a rookie quarterback. This is a Hall of Famer you're dealing with. If he was that vehemently against plays like that, I don't think he would have done it anyway 2 of the first 4. So I feel like there's got to be some gray in that.
I think that's why I think it's more of a skill
by the way,
issue
Dwayne Brown
with Dwayne Brown, the left tackle.
Completely missed his block.
That did as well.
What it was supposed to do.
The failing of the malpractice.
Awful. I agree with that one. Completely awful.
They
matter of fact,
completely whiffed it.
I was texting you on that. I'm like, you're 6'9", 400 pounds. You bench press Buicks and buildings. You're an animal, and you're cut blocking a guy. Really? Like, run him over. What are you doing?
So, Rob, can you explain the difference between a cut block and a chop block? Because Sammy,
so cut block
weren't even sure.
Still legal. You just basically you're going at the thighs of the guy. So it's not actually going below the knee, but you're just going low. It's for quick pop passes, things like that. Get the ball out because as the D line's charging down, they have to come down with the cut. chop block is an engagement of someone doing that and then another blocker hitting you high. Sometimes they call it high-low, but chop block is illegal. So if someone engages you low, no one else can touch you as a blocker.
Yeah, because otherwise it does that kind of
knee
spins
injuries
and
back, that's
all kinds of
stuff. But cut blocking is completely legal. It's just stupid unless you're down by the goal line, in my opinion. But
so it's basically, would you say that for the linemen to be doing cut blocks like that, especially when specifically said by the quarterback, don't do that, would you say that reflects a laziness or lack of skill by the offensive lineman, not knowing the scheme in order to do the proper blocking, or is it just laziness, or do we even know? Can we even speculate?
Know what? I've tried to not watch the play too many times. Like literally anything I see on the news, I'm like trying to stay away from it because I think, to Brendan's point, I think I'm trying to just put myself in a state of mind that like this never existed. This never happened. He came in. I'm putting myself in the mind of he came in to coach Zach Wilson, get him ready to go. But in any case, watch it. The few times I did see the play, Dwayne Brown looked lost, and this is where I'm a little more disappointed and annoyed. Sammy, is exactly what you were saying, and we've talked about this during camp. You got a 38-year-old guy coming back from an injury. He missed all of camp. He comes back for a week, and now, hey, you're left tackle for a Hall of Fame. You're the guy that's going to cement this line and protect him. Really? I get it. That's his natural.
It's organizational malpractice.
Yeah, that's his natural position. I get it. You're trying to do the best of the line. And I even think that some of the stuff that came out through the summer about how awful the line is, I think was probably a little overblown. I think at full capacity, I think we have a decent O-line. I think it's average. I don't think we're great. I don't think we're awful. It's not for a lack of trying because we've drafted a lot. Max Mitchell looked like he was going to be a dog a year ago. He looked like he was going to be a steal in the draft, and then it turns out he has health issues and this and that. We have no depth at line for sure. But at full go, I thought we would. Clearly, I'm wrong because 4 snaps later, our guy's done for the year.
But the offensive line, you have one job.
The way
and
they
they
handle
just
Dwayne Brown is a little, to me, annoying.
It's organizational malpractice to pin all of your hopes on a 39-year-old quarterback that you're paying over $100 million, and you can't get a left tackle. You cannot figure out the left tackle position, and that's been a problem with this team ever since D-Brick retired. So that's what 10 years now, almost.
It was
and I say it in the draft every year. I don't care about the best player available. Fix the line. I say it every year, and they've tried. Becton was supposed to be that guy. But just so and every team has line depth problems in the NFL these days because quality linemen are expensive, and they would rather pay Daniel Jones another $10 million, quarterback, or other players that take up most of the cap themselves instead of investing in the uglies in the trenches that actually keep the expensive players, the quarterbacks, upright. And year after year, this organization has constantly failed to do that, which is why 2014, I think, was the last time that Jets quarterback was healthy enough to start all the games.
15. Was it the Fitzpatrick year?
Yeah.
Right?
Yes, it was the Fitzpatrick year. I think that was it. That's the only time I think in the last 10 years that the Jets have had a quarterback actually last from start to finish without missing a start due to injury.
Probably right. Let me ask you guys this, since we're on the subject.
Or getting mono or punched in the face.
Yeah, that's right.
And even that Fitzpatrick year was following the punch in the face.
Hey, maybe that pans out later in your career because he's doing okay now. Let me ask you guys this. Now that we're here, now that we're in it, Rodgers is gone. That's just the reality. What are your thoughts on Zach? Because I probably have different thoughts than a lot of people, but I'd like to get your guys' opinions on that. What do you expect out of Zach? Do you think it's going to be the same as what we've seen? Do you think he's grown? Do you think he'll be different? Brandon, why don't you go?
He definitely sounds more mature. He's playing the part more mature. The quarterback play now has to match up with it. And last night overall didn't. There was a couple plays. I mean, that touchdown was more of Garrett Wilson's acrobats than Wilson's. Let's
wasn't a
be
great
straight
throw.
honest. Right. And everything like that. So I think but now the problem is, okay, you have Rodgers, he's hurt. What's the quarterback market now? I mean, who you're going to have to either trade for a backup, either a backup, a starter on a team that has no future, or you pull someone out of retirement or off waivers. So I truthfully, I think you still continue with Zach. You bring someone in. There are a couple guys that I think would at least to start up in a backup to Zach. I think would be fine. I threw some names out there. Jacoby Brissett. I think would be.
He's in Washington, I think.
Yeah, but they seem, Sam Howell, they kind of.
I would take Jacoby Brissett as a backup.
I would go him. I would see what Jameis Winston's doing. I mean, he's got an arm. At least he could throw it down the field. I mean,
is he backing up Carr in New Orleans still?
Yeah. I mean, obviously Carr's not an option now.
Josh Johnson is starting in Arizona.
No, I don't want anyone that's already put on a Jets jersey.
Agreed.
That's what I don't want.
Yeah.
So basically, you're left with your options then, or like Trey
Carson Wentz.
No.
You might be able to flip a pick for Brissett.
There's another quarterback on that team, Cooper Rush. I'd throw him behind Zach.
Yeah, but regarding that, and they brought it up on TV.
Zach is the guy.
Zach's going to be the guy.
Yeah.
Jerry Jones and all the other owners saw what happened last night, and if they have a legitimate backup, guess what? They're not going to give him up because of what happened last night.
Mm-hmm.
Because of what if Daniel Jones goes down? That you have a legitimate backup. Look at the Cowboys. If Prescott goes down, they have a legitimate backup.
All right, I'm gonna throw a name.
None of these guys are gonna let them go.
Don't you dare say who I think you're going to say, Brandon.
No, who do you think it would? No, I'm not saying
Voldemort.
No. That's more of a ha-ha than people throwing it out there than it really is, besides the infinite amount of hoops that would have to be jumped through for that to actually happen. That's not realistic in any sense of the word. There is I just had him. Now you made me think about Voldemort. Now I had a name. It's now blanking on me.
Recently retired Nick Foles.
Oh, I do. Okay, I remember. Okay, I don't know what the whole contract aspect of it is, and it would be a little bit of a, I guess you could say, blockbuster if it were a trade, or if you were to kind of you see what happens this year. Look, you still have these kids on these rookie deals going into next year and do it that way. Is Minnesota happy with Kirk Cousins?
I don't think that is even possible from a cap standpoint.
No, okay, but all right, let's just talk football.
Yeah, I would take Cousins.
Okay,
I don't know that it would.
The whole reason,
really.
I mean, the reason that they drafted Darnold was because in 2018 was because the Jets tried to sign Cousins, but he went to Minnesota instead.
But that was different management.
That may as well have been a lifetime.
Who's his backup?
In Minnesota?
Yeah, so like if Cousins comes to the Jets, who's their quarterback into the scenario?
They should tank for Caleb Williams.
They can have Caleb too. I'll never trust the USC quarterback again. I'm good.
Yeah, that's right.
Minnesota
I'll take the USC
State
quarterback before I ever take an Ohio State quarterback.
That's fair.
Any day of the week.
Fair as well.
My head.
I had no market for either one of them. But I don't know. See, this is the thing. I think, and it's very likely we do bring in a backup. Flacco back. I don't know.
No.
They may have to. They may have to. There's
Look,
nobody. Your choices are
it's
basically
very
trading for
likely
Trey Lance.
that they may bring someone in. But the thing is, if you bring in a guy that expects that he's got a fair shake at starting, Zach now goes onto the field playing scared every throw again. And that was obviously.
Even if the Jets wanted to do that, I don't think that person's even available.
I was going to say, Wentz is there. I know. Which I don't want.
Guess.
He's not a good locker room guy, though. Everything I've heard about Carson Wentz.
I would,
but I would expect by now he's There was the picture of him. I don't know if you saw where he was wearing gear from every single team he's been on. I don't think you do that unless you've been like humbled.
I would hope.
True.
I would hope.
True.
Mm-hmm.
I would hope.
I would call Wentz. Hey Carson, well, there's hunting in parts of the area.
Nick Mullins is the Vikings backup, by the way.
Okay.
So now I have a question. So I have a question around that now. I think it's legitimate that we get a quarterback that, yes, will be a legitimate backup, but in case of an emergency, he could go right in. Now I'm going to ask you guys this. After what you saw with Aaron Rodgers, do you think Zach Wilson will survive the next 16 weeks?
Fair question, too.
There was a few points last night that I thought. There was a few times that Wilson went down last night that he was slow to get up.
Yeah.
But wasn't he that all year last year? Oh, and then all year his rookie year? Yeah. Oh, and then all of Sam Darnold's last year? Yeah. Oh, and then the year before that? That's...
Yeah. So my point is that you're going to need a backup that's ready to go with...
Competent. We need Mike White back.
And can move.
I can move.
Oh, we need a guy that can move.
Yeah.
We
don't need these effing statues.
That's the thing that's driving me nuts with Zach Wilson.
You can't be picky now. Like they just, this is what happened. They just got the most expensive statue they could, and it's broken.
But we can be, because what we're picking from is not a hot. No. Who else is really looking besides us right now? Because of this massive shift in direction we have to navigate through.
And there's a lot of and with how the Jets haven't exactly made friends around the league in with their with all of the hype the past few months. Yeah. Do you really think that a lot of other teams, especially anybody in the AFC, is going to do the Jets a solid right now? Not a chance.
Yeah, but I don't think the business element of it and the teams look at it the same way as kind of the exterior and the fan bases and all the hype and stuff like that. These guys are doing business with each other all the time, and they want to make their teams better. I think there's possibility for it.
And also, what's the salary cap situation like with this contract now? Is it fully guaranteed because of industry? So now the Jets cap is FUBAR for the next 3 years? Is that what happens now?
The cap is over 5 years.
Yeah, I don't think the cap situation's any better or worse than it was if he were playing. I think it was just that's set in stone. That's gone. It just sucks that we don't have him. Cool, we get our first round pick back next year. Awesome. I think that's what most Jets fans were thinking, was he would take the final snap that would get him to like 65% of the snap.
That was something another one of
that was on the radar.
That was something another one of my friends said yesterday. He said, another Jet fan friend, Adam, who's in our fantasy football group, where he said the only way this would have been more Jets like would have been if it was right after he passed the 65% threshold.
And earlier, to Brandon's point, had we lost the game, would have been very Jet like too. And I'll be honest, my thoughts on Zach Wilson: he has everything in the toolbox you need to succeed in this league. He's fast, shifty. He can be scrappy. He can play with an attitude. He has an absolute cannon. I think the game is completely mental for him, because when things get in his head, he starts seeing ghosts. Quote another quarterback of ours. And I think that really stays with him. I think, Brandon, you also made the point that he's sounding the part now. You know, from what I heard earlier today,
Zach was also humble.
Yeah, I think he is, and absolutely. But I think after learning on his own from what happened a year ago, and then learning in the short time with Aaron, who was childhood idol and all of that stuff, I think that he is kind of fitting that bill now. I just want to see him calm down and play football. I heard a story today that after he threw the pick, They came back dejected, as he kind of does, and like, oh damn, I threw a pick. And I heard the way Nathaniel Hackett handled it was like, okay, what, like, oh, so what? Like, okay, we got a game to play. Like, who cares? And kind of just completely blew it off. Like, yeah, all right, that happened before. Like, just move on. Like, who cares? You threw a pick. It happens.
Well, that's the
and I think that actually like calmed him down. I saw Garrett Wilson like patting him on the back. That calmed him. Garrett even said in the locker room at halftime, he kind of like rallied the troops and stuff like that. So you're seeing that maturation. He's not the 21-year-old from fucking BYU that came out to New York now. He's been here. He's been through this. So, you know, he's settling in. He's learned a lot. I just want to see him play calm because we know he can play football. There's no question about that. It's just staying in himself, staying calm and doing it. Because I'll tell you what, if he doesn't, there's going to be 9 guys in the box every Sunday, every Monday, whatever. There's going to be 9 guys stuffed in that box. They're going to say, beat us in the air. And if he doesn't do that, we have no shot. And the one other thing that I'll point out that I saw that I really liked, the reason he takes so long from snap to throw is because he needs to see it and point his throw and fire it in there. Last night was one of the first times I think I've seen him ever just take the snap and just throw it and say, hey, I'm just going to trust my guy to get it. The ball that he threw to Wilson, it wasn't a great ball because if you actually look at the replay, the way Garrett's reaching for it was almost like to break up a pick. Because, the ball was thrown a little too far inside. Not going to kill him over that. He took the snap and he just trusted. He didn't wait for Garrett to get open. He didn't wait to see the throwing lane. He didn't wait. He just threw it. He's gotta do that. And Hackett needs to work with him to get those quick passes out, to get the screen game going, and to just trust that receivers are going to be in the right spot and that they'll win. Because I tell you what, Garrett Wilson is pretty goddamn good.
If Zach can shake those ghosts and get that timing down with those quick release passes and develop that cadence with Wilson, because that's the other thing with all this is that Rodgers is very particular about timing and cadence. That is they now completely have to redo all of that again for Zach, which it's not going to happen in a week. This is going to be a painful, and this is going to be a painful. And we even said, looking into this season, we said, looking at these 6 weeks and the defenses that they'd be facing, that he'd be lucky to get through it alive. Well, 4 snaps in, here we are.
To jump on that, I've made this point on our shows before, where the plan was for Aaron Rodgers to be the bridge in the bridge of the disconnect between the offensive coaching, offensive plan, game plan, and the actual execution and the players. Has Zach learned enough, seen enough, been humbled enough to be able to hold up the bridge that we had planned for Aaron Rodgers to be? And that's going to be the key, because going to Dallas after what we just saw them do to our crosstown brothers, rivals, whatever you want to say.
Yeah.
I know our defense is nasty, and I know we got some position, some nice skill positions on offense, but that's going to be.
Dismantled that O-line. This is their home opener.
I got 2 things to say about that. Well, the other thing that Rob said is the big difference also between last year and this year. He doesn't have LaFleur. He has experienced offensive staff. You could criticize it, but he has 2 former offensive coordinators on that staff. They've dealt with all different areas. So you
essentially have a third now with Rodgers. You essentially have a third offensive coordinator now.
And number 2, I want to pump the brakes on this whole Dallas Cowboy thing. I mean, Cowboys versus Giants and how they blew him out. I mean, it was a little for both. You know,
the Giants were frauds last
year. It was a lot. It was some Giants, and it was some that Dallas was lucky enough because Prescott didn't do a lot.
All right. So if the score was 31-7, Dallas, is the reaction any different?
The donut definitely takes it to.
Yeah. All right. Okay. All right.
It does, but to that point,
there's your
because of the expectations of the Giants.
The zero, like the Giants donut that Brandon's friend at Dunkin' Donuts keeps.
Yeah, that donut.
But not-
That's still in my fridge at work because I'm not eating. Bad now. I should throw it out. Thanks for reminding me.
Yeah, that should
thanks.
probably go
I
in the
should do
garbage now.
I'm gonna throw a name for a quarterback just to jump on because then I'm gonna jump off.
We'll all jump off.
Yeah, we should
We'll all
wrap
jump
this up.
off.
It is a little
Right.
ridiculous and a little bit of a Madden type of a mentality here. Taysom Hill, have the whole Wildcat offense. Try and do.
You throw Strubler in too, so you have two.
Oh gosh, that's Trevor. Yeah. No,
And
I
Tebow.
don't think so.
Yeah, is he still around? Is he playing?
Probably
What
went
happened
back
to
to
him?
Canada.
Is he in that practice squad?
Yeah.
No, Boyle
No.
is. Who should be
No,
elevated?
Boyle's on the practice squad.
Who should be
Okay.
elevated?
Yeah,
I thought
I'd imagine
Stabler
Boyle was
still
probably
around,
elevated.
aka Tim Tebow.
Oh yeah, Boyle's gonna have to
2.0.
be elevated to the
Yeah.
active squad now.
Hell, put
Yeah.
him.
Yeah, they're going to have to, at least for
Yeah.
this week. They're going to
Yeah.
have to.
I'd throw
Now,
him out there if necessary.
Yeah, I will. Now, since we all got to run, let's wrap this up. Just one thing I wanted to show, since we're talking about 99 again, and also the date on the calendar. This is some of you know I've moved several times recently. I'm trying to put the house together a little bit, but I found this. I had it on my bedroom wall.
Oh, wow.
JD,
As a
I
kid.
have that same
As a kid.
poster downstairs.
So
It's really funny.
this is my memorial for the day. I had this poster. and my
Martin
friend-
and Keyshawn. Wow.
I have that same poster downstairs in a frame just like that. It's really funny.
Nice.
Those were the days.
Yeah, but with the trade center in the back, I said this is staying
Those
for.
were the
I'm keeping
days.
this forever.
Yeah.
Mhm.
All right.
But hey, not all is lost. This is not last year's Zach Wilson. Let's hope that we got. It may not be Super Bowl or bust, but maybe there is some hope. We can still see the Jets salvage something
Nothing
this
would
year.
make me happier than to see Zach
Yeah.
Wilson live up to what he was supposed to do for this franchise. Nothing would make me happier.
Agree.
All of us.
Damn straight. For Sammy, Brandon, King Rob, and Rob.